right. Thanks everyone for joining us today. My name is Warren Griffiths. I'm an account executive here at Orah, and we are joined here by Kindall Crummey from Bishop John J. Snyder High School in Jacksonville, Florida. Kindall is going to walk us through what our experience has been with using Orah at Bishop John J. Snyder and how it has changed things on the attendance side and how FACTS stays updated automatically. And for our guests joining us today online, we will cover your Q&A questions as they come in, probably closer to the end. But I'd love to just pass it over to Kindall for a quick introduction of who you are, a little bit about the school and your role.
Thank you, Warren. Hi, everybody. My name is Kindall Crummey. I am the director of our school counseling office at Bishop Snyder High School in Jacksonville, Florida. I have been in this role for about 4 years now, and we started using Orah this year. So it's really exciting. It's been a great help to us in our office. So
Great. Thanks, Kindall. Just a question to get us started. So before Orah, how were you actually tracking attendance and how did you know where students were?
yeah, so we use FACTS as our student information system, and within that, we were able to take attendance through FACTS. And so keeping up with students was all done on the FACTS interface, and our teachers would log into FACTS, take attendance with their role, and then move on with the class. And all the reporting for that fell back on our office. So we used FACTS previously.
All right. And what was the visibility on where students were on campus from moment to moment?
There really was no visibility,
Mhm.
honestly, in FACTS, which is what really prompted us to start looking at other programs that could help us with that. We could take attendance with FACTS, and I would say that it was bare bones, basic. We knew which students were here and which students were not here, but as far as students moving around campus, we would literally have to go in and look at each role. And then our school is set up on a little bit of a different schedule. We have 7 class periods, but the students only see 6 of those a day. So we have a rotating schedule, which in FACTS is a little bit cumbersome to do when it comes to attendance. We really never were able to pinpoint exactly where students were at. And so, again, that's what prompted us to look at some other options.
That sounds great. Okay. And was there a particular moment or event that something made it clear it's like we need to do things differently? What was the aha moment?
Yes, absolutely. It was the reporting and contacting parents and dealing with teachers who are frustrated whenever students are tardy and absent. And it just got to the point where our attendance policy and our attendance process were just not lining up. And so the aha moment for us here at Snyder was we have got to come up with a better system. We've got to get our ducks in a row, so to speak, and get organized in a way that what we say our policy is matches how we actually work through that on a day-to-day basis and communicate with families.
And after you went through an evaluation with Aura and decided this was the right solution for the school, for your community, what was actually involved in getting facts synced up and running with Aura?
We were relative, I think when we rolled out Aura, it was the integration was already there. Aura was already able to integrate with Fax, but we did work very closely with the Aura team to help us with that integration. So I brought in my IT guy here on campus, and he helped us with all of the technical stuff that I honestly am not well versed in. I can do the admin side of things all day long, but when it came to the actual tech stuff, my IT guy was instrumental in that. He communicated with Aura, and the Aura team really helped us just walk through that process. And so we got the codes that we needed, we got the permissions that we needed from Fax, and we were able to integrate it. And it was a pretty seamless process. There were a couple of things that we had to work through with our scheduling because, again, we have that 6 period day rotating schedule. And so the Aura team actually helped us build out exactly what our roles needed to look and our schedule needed to look like. So was very integrated with the Aura team and we were able to work together. But my IT guy was instrumental in that and he knew what he was doing on the fact side of things. So that was great.
Fantastic. Do you remember how long it took the school understanding your complexities with the 7 period setup? How long did it go from, okay, first meeting, we're going to get you connected, to we're ready to go live? How long was that for the school?
We chose to do a full semester, and we did that intentionally because I wanted to fully understand Aura. I wanted to roll it out in phases. I did not want to shock everybody with this brand new program because I had a faculty that I had to onboard, and then I had families that I needed to onboard, and I had students that I needed to onboard. So I decided for our office and for our school that I wanted to roll it out in phases. We did not learn about Aura until late summer of last year. And so we were already making plans to start the school year. So in August or September, we started having communication with Aura. We jumped on several calls with Gabe at Aura, and he was fantastic and helped explain the program, the interface, what it could do for us, how it could help us streamline what we needed it to do. That's where we initially made the decision to go in that direction and use Aura. And then from there, he handed us off to Z, who was fabulous. And he did all of the onboarding for myself and Amelia, who works in my office and is actually the attendance manager for us. So we did probably 6, 8 trainings via Zoom where he walked us through everything so we could get a really good understanding. And then in December, early January, I brought on the faculty, and that was a piece of cake. It was so easy to tell my teachers exactly what to do to take attendance. It was so easy. We did it in 30 minutes with them. And then we went live in January of 26. So we've been using it for a full second semester at the end of the last school year. And then we just started our new school year with it.
That's amazing. Getting the staff and faculty trained, and
Yeah.
also the communications out to your community
Yeah.
mid-year, which is maybe
Mid-year.
unusual,
It
but
was very unusual. And
yeah.
again, I knew that. And so I wanted to just take my time. I wasn't really in a hurry. I already had facts. We were using
Mhm.
facts. My teachers were comfortable with that. But we wanted to just take our time and be intentional about rolling that out in the right way. And end of semester one, beginning of semester two felt like the right time to do a phase one. This year, we have rolled out phase two, which is our check-in kiosk in our front office for students.
Amazing, amazing. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and it sounds like you had a plan.
That's exactly right.
But in retrospect, Kindle, is there anything, knowing what you know today, that you would have maybe done differently? How you approached it, or do you feel like this was a fantastic approach?
I felt like for our circumstances, it was a fantastic approach because of the complexities of what we were working with our schedule. If I had it to do over again, the only thing I would have done differently is learning about Aura sooner. If I could have started at the end of the previous year, going through all of that, like just learning the program, learning how to use it, learning the reporting features and all of that, then we would have started fresh in August. And that would have been ideally, I think, for schools, the best time to roll out something new like that. But we, you know, considering what we were working with, I think what we did was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was great to hear that it was adopted by your teachers in a fairly quick amount of time. That's mid-year. It could probably scare off a few people, but I'm glad it was a success. What did your day-to-day look like before Aura? So let's go back a little bit in history, and how have things changed since you've adopted Aura?
So we consolidated our attendance process quite a bit. Our attendance process prior to using Aura had 3 to 4 touch points. Our front office secretary was managing most of the attendance. School counseling was managing all of the parent contacts and student appointments when students were chronically tardy or absent. And so like our front office secretary was calling parents manually every single day. She would print out a report from FACTS and she would pick up the phone and spend an hour and a half or so calling parents in the afternoon. So it was a long process. It was a tedious process. And then the reporting side of that, which was really the selling point for me, was the reports were just very hard to read from facts, and we just could not find what we were looking for. I wanted to be able to zero in on the attendance concern specifically, whether it was an A period or first class tardy that a student was just chronically late for, or whether a student was missing one specific class every week. I wanted to be able to really zoom in on that. And so prior to using Aura, we were just like taking shots in the dark in hopes that we were addressing the attendance concerns. There was a lot of frustration from our teachers about it as well. And so it was discombobulated at best. There were just multiple hands in the pot, just trying to do what we could do to make it work. So.
And roughly for administration, because it sounds like there were some frustrations there with the attendance and the reporting, if you had to fathom maybe weekly, monthly, yearly, how much time are we saving on the administrative side of the school now?
Let's look at it on a day-to-day perspective. We were spending about an hour and a half on average per day pulling reports, making parent phone calls, dealing with the emails that were coming in from parents about the tardy passes and the excuse notes and the doctor's note, all the things. We were spending easily an hour and a half to 2 hours a day just working through all of that stuff. Today, Amelia, who has taken over our attendance manager role here at Snyder, I would say she spends roughly 30 minutes at most pulling the reports that she needs. We are able to automate our communication with parents through that reporting system, which makes it a huge time saver for all of us. And then again, we're able to really zero in on what the specific attendance concerns are. And so we're targeting the right students, we're having the right conversations. And I would say overall, we've cut our time by at least half or more, depending on what it is we're trying to do, whether it be a student appointment or a phone call to a parent, an email. Aura has really streamlined the process for us.
That's amazing. I know our administrative team, our attendance team, they're always spinning a lot of plates. So anytime they can be saved.
Yes.
Yeah. In your time, Kindle, so I just have a thought. In your time since you've adopted Aura, has there ever been an instance where a student wasn't where they're supposed to be? And if you could walk us through how Aura can factor in and getting that resolved, getting a little bit more visibility of a student location.
Yeah, so on the Aura interface, I'm able to see exactly what room a student is supposed to be in. There has been a couple of instances where a teacher may have taken attendance at the beginning of the class period and the student came in late or didn't show up for that class period. And so I'm able to see the teacher usually will email us or just shoot us a quick message and say, not in class. Do you know where they are? So we're able to track back and see whether or not that student checked in on our front office attendance kiosk or whether they had an absent pass that had been already previously put in, and teachers have access to see all of those things right on their roll as well. So it makes the communication between the office, the school counseling, and the classroom very cohesive. In terms of finding students and where they are, I am able to see right on that student's profile what classroom they're assigned to be in and where the last place that they checked in was. So it makes it very easy to keep track of our students around the campus.
Amazing. If you could give, what advice would you give to other schools that are considering Aura?
Definitely do your research and ask a lot of questions. At the time, I didn't really know what to ask because there was so much that Aura was able to do for us that we would learn something new and it would be like this aha moment, like this could really work for us, or wow, this is going to make our lives so much simpler in terms of communicating with families and teachers and the reporting and all of those types of things. So I would say do your research, see how it can support you. Think of it less as something to replace FACTS and more as a partnership with FACTS. We still use FACTS as our grade book and our student information system, but for attendance purposes, Aura was able to go above and beyond what FACTS was able to do. I think it just amplified what we have on our campus. I would say don't wait. Don't wait. It has been such a great asset to our systems here at Snyder. Definitely do your research, ask your questions. Orah is great about being very responsive, and you like the entire Orah team. I think there's something to be said about the fact that I know people's names at Orah. I have met multiple people. I know Gabe, I know Z, I know Alexis, Pratik. These are the people that have walked with me along the journey of integrating Orah. And so for a company to be able to, for me to be able to know people in the company, I think that's spectacular. So I love that about Orah.
Oh, thanks. That's fantastic, Kindle. You mentioned before about having lots of conversations. If you're thinking, if advice you want to give to other schools about conversations they want to have internally, who do you think you'd want to have involved? What questions would you want to ask, just to make sure that this is the right direction for you and to make sure that the evaluation goes well for you?
I think every school is going to look little bit different, but I'll tell you who we brought in on those conversations and how we rolled it out to ask the questions about whether or not this was going to be a good fit. My office, our school counseling office, I have one other school counselor that works with me, and then we have an administrative assistant, Amelia. So both of those ladies were in on those conversations because we are the boots on the ground dealing with students and their needs and concerns. We also brought in our principal, and we brought in our IT guy, and we brought in our dean of students. So we have a fairly large admin team here at Snyder, and those are key positions that either have direct student interaction or have in some way dealt with attendance concerns. So that's where the conversation started. From there, I took it to the entire admin team. We meet weekly, and I began to ask questions of the admin team about if they could change anything about our attendance process, what would it be? We also talked to several teachers of different grade levels and different styles of teaching and that kind of thing. We did have some conversations with teachers about their frustrations. If they could change something, what would it be? And again, we were hearing a lot of that without initiating a conversation. So I had that background knowledge going into it as well. And I knew that teachers were looking for something a little bit more cohesive. I took all of that into consideration as well when talking with my team.
Oh, that's fantastic, Kindle. We have just about 10 minutes left. So I'd love to actually just shift a little bit and maybe get some questions from the audience answered. So, first of all, we have from Caitlin. Caitlin is asking, are you using NFC tiles or tablets for student attendance in classrooms? I think that the question is, are you having the students check themselves in for attendance, or are the teachers still taking attendance through Aura?
The teachers are currently still taking attendance through Aura, and they can do that in one of three ways. They have a desktop version, we have a Chrome extension version, and then they have a mobile app. So we leave that completely up to the teachers how they do that in their classroom, whatever is easiest for them. Many of our teachers use the mobile app. They like being able just to carry it with them wherever they go. And then I would say the rest of our teachers are using the Chrome extension. Our students, the only checking in that they're doing is when they arrive late. We do have a couple of iPads in our front office, and that we use those as tardy check-in kiosks. And the Aura team has helped us set up passes to do exactly what we want them to do. But our students will come in tardy, they'll check in on the kiosk, and then it auto populates or it's automated to the teacher's role. That is where we are right now. We are probably looking at rolling out a couple of other things in the future, but at this time, our teachers are still taking their own attendance.
All right. All right. Thank you. I've got another question here, and I think you covered most of that in that answer. Thanks, Kindle. The question was, walk us through what happens step by step when a student misses a check-in and who gets notified and how fast is that?
It depends on who you want to be notified. You can notify anybody you want through Aura. So for our team specifically, if a student does not show up for a class, they're marked absent. Amelia will go through and she just monitors that throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, if there's any discrepancies, she'll follow up on those before she makes that parent contact. Again, it's all automated for us. So she is monitoring it throughout the day. Our teachers will also email us, hey, I see that has been here all day and they didn't show up for class. And so we will track them down at that point. We have about 500 students on our campus, grades 9 through 12. So we're not super big, but also not super small. So it's a little easier for us to keep tabs on where everybody is at. But yeah, that's kind of the process and what that looks like.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. And here's another great question. Did any staff push back on the new processes and what changed their minds?
I really expected some staff pushback. I really did, and I did not have any. I was pleasantly surprised. I did not have any staff pushback. Z hopped on a webinar with us with my staff. It took us about 30 minutes. He highlighted some of the key features. Again, we did not go into every nitty-gritty detail for our teachers. I just told them what I wanted them to know and what they needed to do to take attendance. The part that I heard over and over from our teachers was, we love the mobile app. We love the Chrome extension. And so that was the selling point for them to have that. Because previously, FACTS, they were just taking it on their desktop. They would log in at every class period or however and just take it like that. So I think it was very user friendly and our teachers loved that. So I didn't have any pushback. I was really surprised.
Great. And how was it for you? And this is actually me asking, how was the communication to parents and your community outside of your staff? How was the adoption? How did you word it saying, hey, we're bringing this in and here are the reasons why?
It was so easy, and I used Aura's. So they sent me an entire slide deck and resource library of email templates, forms, all the things that I needed, and I just tweaked it to what I wanted it to say specifically for Snyder. So that part of it was really easy. I just used Aura's email templates to roll it out to our families. For the As we have rolled out the phases, again, we have a biweekly newsletter that we send to parents, so I include updates in that and communicate with them that way. But it was very easy. I just used what Aura sent to me, so I wasn't responsible for creating all of the content. So it was great.
Great. We have a question that just came in from Kathy. I think this has to do, I think, maybe with hall passes. Can a student check out of class when going to the restroom, locker, or whatever? And when they check back in, are they checking back in through Aura? And will it record the in-out times?
It will. We don't use Aura that granularly. So our hall passes are not done through Aura. If a student needs to go to the bathroom in the middle of a class, the teacher will sign a quick pass in their planner or whatever. The only thing we're really using Aura for is our day-to-day attendance, class period attendance, and tardies. And so the hall pass in and out of class, we don't use that. We don't use Aura for that because it would just be a little bit too granular for our needs, but it can. And the Aura team is able to walk you through all of that and make those passes exactly what you want them to be. So we've created and tweaked and recreated and changed things with our passes multiple times. So they're able to make it what you need it to be for your specific context and location.
All right, great. Thanks, Kindle. Another question just came in. Does Aura replace anything you were doing manually in FACTS before, or does it run alongside it?
It runs alongside it. It runs alongside it. I can do everything that I can do in FACTS in Aura. So from the automated calls to parent communications, I can do all of that through Aura. So I don't have to go back and forth and use both systems. I'm keeping my eye on both systems to make sure they're synced properly, and they are, but I am not using both to do the same thing. I'm using Aura to track attendance and communicate attendance. And our parents actually, we were talking about it earlier today, our parents are getting notified when students check in tardy. They get an automatic email. Your student has checked in at 8:05 in the front office. So parents know when their student arrives to school. So that's coming directly from Aura, not from FACTS.
Gotcha. Okay. I do see that a few people have just joined on recent, and one question is, what does Aura do? So we're going to back up a little bit. So Aura is a solution that works in tandem with FACTS. It does not replace FACTS. And what Aura is to do is give you more visibility into student location, more visibility on your movement of students throughout the day, but also to help out with administrative tasks such as having parents have an easy way of telling the school a child is going to be late, they have to leave early, they're not going to be there at all that particular day. Also things on automatic alerts. So if we have a student that doesn't show up, we haven't heard from the parent, how are we going to get notified? How are we going to notify the parents? Tracking things such as tardies or absences. If we have policies at the school that a certain amount of tardies means a detention, or a certain amount of absences beats no credit or a grade reduction, I can help schools be proactive with that as well. All leading to better outcomes when it comes to safety, because if we know where students are, if we had to move into an emergency situation, we know Warren's parents already said Warren's not going to be there today. We're not chasing after Warren. We know Warren is not around. Anyway, hopefully that helps for the people who just joined who asked what Orah does. That's a little bit of what we do in a nutshell. Actually, I think I just answered that question that just came in from Stephanie. Once there is an abundance of tardies and absences, do we get notified?
Yes. Yes, you do. You get to set the number of whatever your school is comfortable with tardies and absences. So yeah, you do get notified and you get to determine how you want to be notified. And for us in particularly, we look at the activity board every day, our dashboard, and we're just able to at a glance see who has an attendance concern open for them because of whatever the parameters are that we've set, but it can vary from school to school, whatever you're comfortable with.
That's great. Thanks, Kindall. We're running out of time. We do have another question coming in from Caitlin. Do you know if we were to use in-out hall passes, what that would look like in FACTS, and would it mess up the original attendance? The answer is no, Caitlin. It will not mess up your original attendance, but obviously we're more than happy to chat with you around that and show you what Orah can do at your school. And I think we're just about out of time. Thank you so much, Kindall. That was great. We really appreciate working with Bishop Snyder, and we're looking forward to a long relationship.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.